Some members of the AmaZulu Royal family are expected to meet in KwaNongoma today at KwaKhethomthandayo Palace. Why? Let's find out and bring in Bongani Gema. He's live for us in that part of the country. Bongani, thank you very much indeed for your time. Very good morning to you. Purpose of this meeting, tell us more.
Thank you, Blaine, and good morning to you too. Blaine, we are outside the KwaKhethomthandayo Palace. As you mentioned, that is the royal family that is expected to hold this meeting today. We don't know if the members of the royal family who are in support of King MisuZulu are going to be part of this meeting, but we know that Prince Mbonisi, who's been very vocal with his opposition to the King MisuZulu, is going to be part of this meeting. We are expecting them to announce their preferred candidates for the throne. It is likely, Blaine, that they'll mention Prince Smagate. As you know, Prince Smagate is the oldest son of the late King Goodwill Zwelithini. You'll remember in the judgment by Judge Isaac Matondo in the Pietermaritzburg High Court, which ruled that Prince Smagate cannot be a contender for the throne, saying that's because Prince Smagate is not born of the 5 wives of the late king. They're saying that he doesn't have any basis to contend the throne. Prince Smagate later, last week, when the president released a statement saying that he has recognized King MisuZulu as the king of the AmaZulu nation, he then released a statement through his lawyer saying that he was not happy with the judgment, saying that in fact Judge Matondo ignored the facts that Prince Smagate was according to the Zulu customs, was brought into the Zulu royal household. He was appointed as the eldest son of the Zulu household, and he does all the duties of the eldest son of the Zulu household. So he is legally does have a basis to contend the Zulu throne, saying that the letter that he wrote saying that he doesn't want the throne was that he was not contesting or he was not rallying anyone to appoint him, which is not the way that it is done, but saying that now that the royal household has announced that they intend to announce him is available and is willing to take the throne up. We also know that after the recognition by the president, Prince Mbonisi also released a statement saying that the royal household intends to challenge that decision by the president in the courts, because they were caught off guard, they were surprised and they were disappointed, because in the letter by the president is saying that in a meeting that was held by the royal family last year, King MisuZulu was announced in that meeting. Prince Mbonisi saying that, well, that meeting was not a meeting to appoint the king. According to what their knowledge, the only meeting that they can hold to appoint the next king is only now, after a year since the passing of the king, because all this time they've been in mourning, so they could not have announced a king, so they were disappointed by that. Also saying this, in fact, they wrote a letter to the president saying that the announcement and the appointment of King MisuZulu was not in line with the customary law, because I guess they were not duly informed that was going to take place. But then Judge Matondo said that, well, that meeting was in fact in line with the law. It's just them who did not decide to be part of it. They did not tender an apology. Said they cannot come now and then tender in their disputes. That is something that they should have done then. So you can see now that this is going to be a very long process, but Prince Mbonisi was very clear in saying that they do intend to challenge that decision by the president. Also saying that they want the president to release a report, because, you know, the president did appoint a team of with the Minister of Culture and Mr. Willis Mchuniye in KwaZulu-Natal to be part of a mediation team to help try and resolve the disputes in the royal family, saying that, well, they do not believe that, you know, the president did take that report in consideration when he decided to recognize King MisuZulu as the heir. So they want that report to be released so that the public can know what was found by the team.
Possible consequences, Bongani. What bearing, if any, will this meeting today have on coronation plans?
Well, Blaine, you'll remember during the week that the Prime Minister of the AmaZulu, Prince Mbonisi, did say that, well, they are going ahead with the coronation process. In fact, in the coming weeks, he said it's going to take place in the coming weeks. According to them, now the king has been certified, it's going to be gazetted. He is now legally, he can now assume his duties, saying that. So, I mean, a legal expert that we also spoke to say that whatever, you know, happens now, I mean, this faction, if I may call them that is opposed to the king, does have legal avenues that they can consider, to voice out their grievances, but it has no bearing on the throne, because now that the president has recognized the king, they can go on with the coronation and appoint and the king can assume his duties. Whatever happens here today does not really have any bearing on the throne.
These latest developments, one wonders what sort of impact it's having in the surrounding communities and those around the country. What are you hearing in terms of how these developments are resonating among communities?
Plain, what I've noticed, or what we've noticed is that, the majority of people have rallied around the king, MisuZulu. They've voiced out their support. They are prepared to go with him wherever he goes. I mean, plain, we've noticed that wherever the king goes, AmaZulu are there. In fact, the whole different compartments of the royal household that usually accompany him when he's going on his duties, they are always there with him. So you can see that the support is there. People have accepted him as the king. So I guess whatever, maybe that's because he was the one who was announced first. We don't know, plain, but we'll see after their name has been announced today what's going to happen regarding that plan, because they told us that's around 1 o'clock. That's when they are going to be able to brief the media on the proceedings of the meeting, because we understand the meeting is going to be under closed doors, so we won't really be able to see or hear what goes on. We'll only be able to hear after 1 o'clock. So I guess it's going to be very interesting to see, once they've announced their candidate, the kind of the support that they're going to be able to garner. But we also remember that we saw even the premier of KwaZulu-Natal, saying that they are congratulating the king on his recognition by the president, and they're prepared now to rally behind him, because you'll remember that when these disputes broke out, the province decided to suspend all their supports or their funding to the functions or the events of the royal household. So I guess now we'll see, now that the king has been announced, what's going to happen there, and then after this candidate is announced, what the premier or the province is going to decide, and even AmaZulu plain.
Have we heard, since the recognition from the president, from MisuZulu Zwelithini, with regards to any sort of reaction following the president's recognition, I beg your pardon, of his kingship?
Plain, well, the king is always the prince. Mangosuthu always speaks on behalf of the king, and he was very clear in saying that, well, the recognition by the president was long overdue. That is something that they had been expecting, so it wasn't a surprise for them, because he's saying that according to the law and the normal practice of the household, the king was appointed rightfully so, and so they were not surprised by what happened. In fact, it was long overdue, so it had really delayed processes that they, according to them, they would have liked to conclude long time ago, but they were happy with the decision by the president, and saying they are ready to go on now with the coronation, and the king can now assume his duties.
Bongani Gema, live for us in KwaNongoma in KwaZulu-Natal. Our eyes and ears on the ground, no doubt. Bongani will bring us all the latest developments. Bongani, when anything happens, anything you feel the viewers need to know, get in contact with us or get you on air. Get the viewers the very latest. Bongani Gema there live for us.